Angeles AMA. Ask Us Anything. We're really excited to be here. We have some outstanding entrepreneurs. We have our latest and greatest VC in residence, investor in residence, Kim Nixon on also. My name is Sherman Williams. I've been working with the Techstars LA team for a couple of cohorts now. A couple quick background on me. I've been an early stage investor for some time. I actually run a fund that focuses on deep tech and focuses on veterans called AI Ventures. I've been supporting the Techstars LA program and the Techstars Space Tech program, which is also run out of LA for some time, working quite closely with Matt Kozlov. How about we do intros with everyone? We'll start with Kim Nixon first, and then we'll go through the entrepreneurs, and then we'll kick off with some questions. For everyone, just so you know, if you have anything to say, please put it in the chat. If you have questions, there's actually a question button on the right-hand side. Please ask. This is meant to be an interactive forum. So looking forward to hearing your questions and educating everyone. Kim.
Thank you, Sherman. And I'm so excited to be here. I'm more excited to learn more than anything else. I really want to hear what the previous cohorts have gone through, what their experiences have been like, so I can do my best to step into Sherman's footsteps and recreate a similar experience for our future classes. So really excited to be here. My name is Kim Nixon. I'm the latest VC in residence for Techstars LA. In addition to supporting the current cohort participants and mentoring, I also run a fund called Open Venture Capital in the health and wellness space, which I started after a long career in health and wellness as an operator across several brands. I've worked across product, marketing, sales, go-to-market, you name it. So I like to bring a variety of different experiences to the table to help these burgeoning brands really figure out how to get to the next step in their progress as well. So really excited to be here, and I'm going to turn it over to Joseph to introduce himself next.
Awesome. Thanks, Kim. Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph Rutakangwa. I run a startup called Rwazi, which is a consumer intelligence platform that provides multinational companies with actionable data from developing markets. And this is data on who is buying what, from where, when, and why, so they can drive sales and expand. And basically the way we get this data is we have a network right now of more than 40,000 local consumers who are based in Africa, South Asia, Latin America. They use our mobile application to log their shopping experience and also log the products that they use in their homes. And that kind of data is what helps these companies, expand in these markets and see growth in sales in these fast-growing markets.
Awesome.
Anis, I think you can take it from here.
Thanks, Joseph. Yeah, I am Anis Pretorius. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Bean. First-time founder. Bean is a SaaS-enabled marketplace and workflow management platform for specialized accounting services, and it's truly the birth child of my experience. So former Big Four accountant, former Deloitte, former EY, which is really the catalyst for why I started Bean. And again, excited to speak with all of you about the Techstars LA experience. Definitely company changing, life changing, all of the above. And so excited to dive into it.
Awesome. So why don't we talk about, Kim, how about you and I just talk about applications for right now? Let's be logistical and practical. And then what's going on with the two programs coming up in March? Maybe, Kim, you can just give an overview of applications and the program, et cetera, coming up in March. The two programs in March.
Yes. So I'll start, and Sherman, you back me up because you'll have more information than I'll have. But we're actively reviewing and accepting applications right now for our spring 2023 cohorts. We have two programs that will be running in the spring. One is a healthcare-focused cohort, and that is in partnership with UCI Health, Cedars-Sinai, Point 32 Health, and United Healthcare. And so you can imagine if those four organizations are coming to Techstars LA and say, hey, we really want to work with you to recruit an incredible class of startups, innovators, founders that are bringing real solutions to problems within the healthcare space. That also means that they want to potentially be your future customers or future partners and investors in your brand. So we're really looking for early stage, and we can define, and Sherman, I'll turn it over to you to define early stage, because I think this is a question that comes up a lot, but we're looking for early stage brands that are very clear on the fact that they need to have inroads within the healthcare space for their growth. This is an opportunity to really supercharge that growth, to make those connections, and to have partners and even mentors during your Techstars experience to help make sure that you get to the next stage that you need for fundraising for your brand. So that's one of the cohorts. The second program is in partnership with JP Morgan, and it's a generalist program, meaning your startup can be within any industry. We are actively looking for B2B SaaS, prop tech, consumer, health and wellness, fitness companies. So we want to make sure that there's a really good set and cross-section of companies in that space for the JP Morgan partnered program. And that's because our mentors, hundreds, thousands of mentors, have backgrounds across all of these industries and can be so valuable to your growth during your participation in Techstars LA. Secondarily, JP Morgan is in partnership with Techstars is looking to make sure that this class is also representative of the changes that we're seeing within startup and entrepreneurialism as well, meaning we want to make sure that the class is diverse from a background perspective, and that the entrepreneurs in this space feel like they are being asked and even pulled to apply. We want to see the diversity in the space. So the questions that you may normally ask yourself about whether you're ready, are you far enough along, are you too early, we're going to encourage you to either ask those questions tonight, follow up with any of us on LinkedIn, or you can reach out to the Techstars inbox as well, and we'll put some of that information in the chat. Hopefully Alex is still on and can put some of that information in the chat, where you can set up time or ask general questions, so that you can kind of figure out for yourself whether you're early stage or too early. But we believe that this is an opportunity for early stage entrepreneurs to come in and really see some growth.
Absolutely. And I just want to say, Alex, we definitely want you to put in the chat, and this will be posted on YouTube. We'll have a link in the YouTube on the page of how to apply to Techstars LA, to these two programs. I don't believe there's a separate link. I believe it's one link for folks to apply. So that's just quick logistics. Number two, to answer Kim's question about how early stage you can be, what I like to say is that Techstars is an accelerator program. Okay. And so we are looking for people. You can have anywhere from, you can be pre-revenue, or you can be $2 million, $3 million, $4 million in sales. Okay. If you're looking to accelerate your sales in a dramatic way, very, very rapidly, and bring together the right mentors, expertise, and actually test your business model, your product, your team dynamics in a setting that has seen a tremendous amount of success in the large accelerator program in the world. If you're looking to test within that ecosystem, then this is the program for you. So I would say that there's not really people too early. There's really no one too early. And as far as being too late, there are very few people who are going to be too late if you haven't raised a seed round already. Right. So I would encourage you to apply, right? And don't try to make the decision on your own. Have that discussion with us. And then we will collectively decide whether or not it makes sense if you are a bit later stage in your company. I've seen companies go through accelerator programs doing $3 to $3.5 million in sales, but it was something unique that the program was able to do. And after Kimberly told you guys about all the different partners that we have, there's true uniqueness that we're bringing to this program. There's partners that we're bringing to this program that can truly accelerate your company. So that's that. All right. So I would love to go now into the actual businesses of Joseph and Anise. And I want to do so in a certain way that dovetails with what I just said. So I want you to give a brief snippet on your business, then talk about how you came to Techstars and why you decided to apply to Techstars to accelerate that business. Maybe Joseph, you can go first.
Yes. So Eric is my co-founder in Rwazi. We're based in Mauritius. We started a company. It was a US company from day one, but we're physically based in Mauritius. And last year when we started, when we went operational, towards the end of the year, we're making, okay revenue. So we're making around, I think, 300K in ARR. So we decided that to get, we saw in our customer profile that most of our customers are coming from the US and Europe. And to get in touch with the US base of our customers, we need to tap into a program, like an accelerator program that has an extensive corporate network. We looked at various accelerator programs, and we saw that most programs were just focused on product and fundraising. And we wanted a program that has, yes, product and fundraising, but also has a strong focus on B2B, customer acquisition. And, we did extensive research and, talked to different startups that have gone through these programs, and we ended up with Techstars as the best program for that. Now, which program in the Techstars universe should we attend? For that, we looked at the profiles of different managing directors of these programs, and based on our business, so our business is, getting this flying consumer data from developing markets. We saw that Matt Kozlov, who runs the LA program, has the best profile for the kind of business that we run, because his background is in consulting, and therefore he would understand our business and how to push our business to our target customers and so forth. So now, how we would apply, we looked at, we initially thought that the normal online application would take forever, so we emailed Matt directly. And after emailing Matt, we didn't get a response, for the first few days. So we decided to just apply online. So if you go online on techstars.com, on the top right corner, you'll see, apply now, and then you can filter programs based on, the industry that you're in, and also location. And also at that time, because of COVID, we were more interested in the in-person programs, right? So LA was one of the only few programs that were in person. So after doing the filtering, we applied to the LA program. Then Matt responded, he said, okay, just read your application, let's have a call. So we had a 30-minute call with Matt, and of course, my assumptions were correct. He understood the business 100% and knew how to take it forward, and saw that there's a huge demand for it, in this site. So then the next interview was Sherman. And so the interview with Matt for us was like, okay, yes, Matt is the correct MD, that we're looking for, and is the correct person to help us expand business-wise. And then when we had the interview with Sherman introduced us to, at that time, we were in a mindset of, we tried to raise pre-seed, we didn't get any funding. So forget funding, let's focus on customer acquisition and sales, right? And at that time, we were already profitable. So when we talked to Sherman was like, great. However, if you want serious growth and have invest in products, invest in engineering teams and so forth, good if you raise funds, right? And with you guys, based on your position and your your trajectory, if you get a cash injection, you'll see even faster, acceleration in growth. So that was a new introduction. We're like, okay, then Sherman was like, okay, you're coming to the right network. It won't be like, the same experience you've had of, going out into the market and coming back with an empty bucket. So we did two more interviews, and, the last interview was Matt and all the co-founders, Eric and I, and, 90 minutes going deeper into the team dynamics and our vision and what we actually want as people and so forth. And after that, we got an offer on the call, and we accepted it. So we're very, very happy about that. And now, fast forward, in March, that was like last year in December, March, we got in, we started the program. From March to June, our business completely changed, right? I don't have enough minutes to explain, but from March to June, our business completely changed. I don't know how much I should drag to this, but since joining Techstars, our revenue has tripled, and up to our revenue has tripled. We've raised more than we intended to raise the program, and our team has expanded. We're now operating in like a different atmosphere. So yeah, so that's just, I can get into all those tiny details, but for now, I think that's what you asked for.
Yep, absolutely. Anise.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I think everything that Joseph's mentioned is just so accurate. And kind of one nuance, the application process is fairly similar. The catalyst for me hopping on or applying to Techstars was actually listening to something similar to this, where Matt was on the call with previous founders, and it was hearing the founder stories about their experience with the Techstars LA team, with Matt as the MD and Sherman in there, that just kind of solidified and motivated me to want to apply. I think the interesting part and the thing that I expected and I got most out of the program was the fact that after it, I understood my business so much better. I went in thinking that I understood and I knew what my business was all about. But the hot take, if you will, that we got out of it, myself and my co-founder, was the fact that people or you are surrounded with people who force you to think about the nuances of your business. And I think that support system, that network, that ecosystem of people that you can go to and go back and forth with to say, hey, this is how I'm thinking about this today, but this is kind of where we want to go in the next 12, 18 months, maybe even 10 years. Like, what are your thoughts? And that input, that guidance, that history and that experience of being able to see businesses similar to ours, but how they have either succeeded going down a specific path or have failed down a specific path was invaluable. I think, Sherman mentioned the fact that it does accelerate your business, but I think what it does too is it allows you to either succeed down the road that you are going faster, or it allows you to fail down the road that you are going faster, which then allows you to pivot and make the changes that you need to. One thing that stands out to me in a big way is just the notion that the team truly, into the Techstars LA team, indexes on the people who are building the product, not necessarily the product that is being built. And so, I mean, yeah, that was massive too. And so just knowing that, the people or that you're being surrounded by are going to help you and truly accelerate your understanding of your business, and therefore your business was massive.
Absolutely. It's a great question. Kim, any follow-ups there?
Yeah, I was just going to say for the audience, I hope that people are taking note of the word and the use of the word pivot more than one time by more than one founder, because again, I want to really drive home the idea that you don't have to have all of the answers when you apply. We expect that you have a great idea and that you're the right person for the job. We want to be able to dig deep, and even during that 30, 60, or 90-minute conversation, kind of, get down to what is at the heart of the problem that you're looking to solve. But we don't expect that you're coming in with something so complete that there's very little value to add. And so I'm just really, kind of honing in on that word pivot so that the audience understands that you probably are at the right point in your trajectory to apply.
Yeah, and I do want to say, as a VC that's actively investing, as someone that's been in the Techstars ecosystem and been supporting the companies for some time, when someone comes to you like they have it all figured out, you really look at them like, well, what the hell are you coming to me for? I mean, it sounds like you haven't figured out. What are we talking about right now? So you come to Techstars, like I said, when you want to accelerate the business, and there's a difference between incubation and acceleration, right? And when you want to make your business go bigger, faster, and further, you come to us, and we will test the product. We will test the team. We will test those assumptions to help you all get there. And what is going to likely happen, there's going to be a transformation / pivot to how you think about things, how you're operating with your product, et cetera, like Kimberly just mentioned. And that will put you on a faster path, right? So it's like Kimberly said, it's okay to come to us not having it all figured out. That is the point of coming to us, actually, right? So I just want to put that out there. Now, I do want to shift gears a little bit, and I want to talk about the day in the life while you were at Techstars LA. You guys just wrapped up not too long ago, back in September now. And And so, I'm sorry, June. June. And I'd love to go through what a day was like. Maybe Anis, you can go first.
Yeah, absolutely, Sherman. So, I mean, day is just, it seems like a blur. It seems like a lifetime ago that we were in program, and I think if I think back and reflect on the days, it starts off depending on where you are in the program. So it's essentially split up into three phases, right? It's kind of month 1, month 2, and month 3. Month 1 is literally you getting acquainted with who your cohort mates are. Like that, I guess it's week 1, first 3 days. And then weeks 2 to 4 is what we lovingly refer to as mentor magic. It was maybe more appropriately called mental madness in previous iterations of the program, as magical mental madness. But that is literally probably one of the most impactful periods, but also one of the most challenging periods of the entire program, because you are literally having hundreds of meetings in a 3-week period with folks. I think myself and my co-founder counted, we did 125 meetings in the space of 15 days. But in those meetings, we made some of the most meaningful connections that we are probably going to make in the life cycle of Bean's existence. Like many of those relationships that we made then in the first week of the program are investors in Bean today. And again, we wouldn't have been able to have as easy an access to them had we not gone through the program. The second month, kind of once you've locked in who your mentors are that are going to help guide you, help be your support system, help be that network that you go to speak about your business and help you better understand your business, you go into taking their feedback and kind of operationalizing some of those aspects that they give you, the feedback that they give you for your business. And in the midst of that, and I think again this was probably one of the biggest things that I got out of the program, was you start refining and you start really honing in on how you tell the story of what your business is. I knew what my business was going into, what my company was going into the Techstars program. I knew what Bean was, but the way that I articulated before and after the program completely shifted. And so it's that storytelling aspect, those storytelling skills that are so vital, like how you get down to the meat that actually matters, that is incredible. And so again, like the final month is essentially just prepping up for demo day, and then trying to run your business and making sure that things don't break while you're prepping for demo day. And so, I mean, that's kind of a month in the life of, I guess, but like every single day is just filled with so much that is, at least for me, it was kind of difficult to distill down.
Joseph.
Yes, I think Anis dealt with the bigger layer, which now informs how you end up breaking your time. I think for most of us who were already running businesses, had customers and so forth, the issue was, okay, you have to divide time between running your business and being in the program, which is running, like fixing your business. So in my end, it was 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. I would have 5, but 6 to 8 was working on my business, like team meetings and so forth. And then from 9 to 5, you have Techstars, and then from 5 to midnight, that's working on my business again, right? So generally I have like the normal 8-hour day, which is working on, like fixing the business and changing how the business works, like in terms of pricing, customer targets, the messaging, how you're positioning yourself, new customers, that's all the mentors. So Anis mentioned 125 mentors, went up to like 100, around the same now, 125, 150. All of those mentors are going to open doors for you, like in terms of business introductions and so forth. And that involves, now you have a new pipeline that you need to execute on. So that's an actual, like just running the business. But at the same time, you have workshops that involve fixing your business, and which you need to also implement with submissions and so forth. So the 8-hour, for me at least, the 9 to 5 was working on the business, like through the mentors that we met and the workshops that we're doing with individual mentors, and then the first 2-hour block in the morning, and then the last 6-hour block at night was dealing with my customers and my team and so forth. So that was a very tight period, and that's not including now you have every Thursday you have community dinners and There are weeks
Community building parts.
for that and so forth.
I mean, and that's kind of the thing, Joseph, to piggyback on that. It sounds structured, and that's because it is, but it's also, there's space and there's freedom for you to be able to interact with your cohort mates. And I think that was huge. Like the companies that were in our cohort were phenomenal. Like I have now friends in different parts of the world. I've got a couch to sleep in literally different parts of the world, that if I go and visit, I can call them up and like, hey, I'm in town, you want to grab a beer, and I need a place to sleep, right? And so, and that is incredible. It truly is a global network. And so being able to know who these people are, being able to understand the companies that they're building, some of the smartest people that I've met in my entire life, and to be able to learn from them was phenomenal. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a ton of time and space for that, because everybody's going through it. So
I did want to speak about the physical space that you existed within. So at Techstars LA, we insisted on folks being in person, and we thought it was a lot of value add. And we were intentional about the space that we chose. So can you talk about the space that you existed within, the physical space there in Culver City, and your thoughts about it and how it helped facilitate, how it brought value to your experience?
Yes, I think for us, that's what we wanted the most, actually, because even when we were picking the program, we looked for a program that has an in-person engagement. So at the office in Culver City, every company had their own office, right? This is huge. So most programs, wide open, co-working kind of situation. We just have a desk. In this case, everyone has their own office with, like, I think four seats per office and so forth. And with we used to like work. That's why I said 6 to 8, and then you have 9, because I was like going to the office. Then you physically meet your fellow founders who work on different brainstorming sessions with you, depending what we need. We needed accounting service from Bean, and all that was very generous. And then you have all those mentors that you meet physically, which is far more valuable than meeting them, virtually, right? It's a completely different experience, because then you have, you have like a war room setup where you work on different, you tackle on different issues of your business from that physical perspective. And more importantly, you have those sessions, like community sessions that we had with our fellow founders in person, right? And in-person meetings with Sherman and Matt and other program associates and coordinators. So I think that to me was the most valuable part of the experience of having being able to do that. First of all, I don't know how it's done virtually, right? I can't imagine. So yeah, I found that extremely valuable. Anis, I don't know.
And then let's take a step out, a higher level. Let's talk about Culver City, the neighborhood, and in LA in general. For the folks that are listening, LA is the number 3 venture market in the United States, behind the Bay Area and New York City. So it's absolutely massive, to the tune of, I think in 2020, I think it was around 20 billion or something like that. That was actually the first year it actually matched New York for the size. I think New York went a little bit higher in 2021. But can you just talk about being in that ecosystem, being very close to the Bay Area, and kind of how that was, and also the neighborhood of Culver City, just LA in general?
Yes,
absolutely. Yeah, go on, Joseph.
Also, another thing is both of you all came from outside of LA.
Yes.
So let's talk about where you guys came from and what impact you felt being in such a large ecosystem.
Yeah. So for me, it was like you have that cultural that cultural wow aspect. I came from Mauritius, and coming to LA, first of all, it was a dream. I've lived in the US before, but not in the West Coast. I really wanted to come to LA. Came to LA. The office was the office is next to Sony, and then you have Amazon, and then you have the beautiful square. We have like a bunch of restaurants where we used to eat lunch. Beautiful weather and environment. And as you were explaining on the effects, the advantage of being in LA, what we had, this is the point of having a physical space. We had a lot of VCs walk into the space, like abruptly, no meeting or any arrangements, but walk into the space, meet Matt, then Matt would introduce them to different startups just without appointments. And, met people from, Will Smith's VC and, different large, VC firms, just like that, as you're working in your office, and then you get to meet these different people because, we can imagine if you have that virtually, then it has to be an appointment. Someone has to be that invested in wanting to meet you and so forth, which is a time lag. In this case, you'd be able to meet all of them. And because of those meetings, actually, and VC meetups, our lead investor met us in that kind of setup. And we ended up, who is now our lead investor in the seeds that we just closed, right? So if we hadn't been in LA, like imagine I was in Mauritius and I did this virtually, I promise you I won't have raised a dime.
It's a little different.
Yeah, I feel like Joseph's experience was probably maybe a little bit different than me because he went from like a beautiful coastal beach island to LA, which is beautiful coastal USA America town, and so I am partial to California. I love California. I am originally from Cape Town, South Africa, and so being in LA is just like it feels like home. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio now, which is very different to LA. And I flew in from Cleveland to be to LA. So I know Sherman's still trying to, he's working, and I'm okay with that. But I think to touch on the point on just it's very evident that it is a thriving ecosystem. I think if you just have a look at some of the macro trends, A16Z doubling down on the LA ecosystem because they believe it is the next big market, and it's evident. You kind of understand why. I think the Culver City office is so strategically and amazingly placed because it's like a little bubble. If you haven't been to LA, I suggest you go and visit it and you just like spend some time over there. You probably won't regret it. But yeah, Culver was amazing. We lived like 15 minutes away from the actual office, but the access to different parts of LA was incredible, and the ability to meet, as Joseph mentioned, in person. We were able to meet, mentors turned investors very, very seamlessly, very, very easily. And I think you kind of touched on one point, Joseph, but didn't expressly call it out. And I don't know if this was your experience too, but prior to Techstars, the kind of whole you need to go out and you need to find those warm introductions to VCs that you may not know, or you may cold outreach them to understand, okay, like, am I going to raise this fund? How do I go about running this raise? When you get into the Techstars program, they come to you. And so when we ran our raise, we did not have to cold outreach, solicit any venture capital firm. It was like this magical thing that happened where we were connected with folks who were coming to us and interested in what we were doing. And I think that in itself was massive. And it allowed us to, again, close out seed round fairly quickly. Yeah.
No.
And I'd like to add to that part of the reason that the space is as vibrant as it is and why those meetings are happening is because outside of the accelerator work that's happening, Sherman, myself, Anna, our other VC in residence, and Matt, we're all becoming and being part of the fabric of that LA tech and venture ecosystem. So that means partnering in events, showing up for, Google startup demo days, and Matt speaking on panels, or Sherman and myself speaking on panels during LA Tech Week, which was, vibrant. About a month ago, Techstars LA held a panel and had somewhere close to 150 or 200 people show up to talk about the future of healthcare. So there's a lot of work that's happening, just making sure that Techstars LA as a brand is part of that ecosystem and a place where people want to be connected to. And that then becomes, a benefit for the accelerator participants when they are in the space.
Absolutely. Now, you guys have hinted, I just want to point for everyone on this call. I like to get down to brass tacks, right? So everyone that's listening to this, it's great to go through an accelerator program. But at the end of the day, we want to do a couple things. You want to increase sales.
Yes.
And in a lot of cases, you want to raise additional capital. Okay. So can we talk about your journey specifically to the degree that you're willing to about with respect to like your ability to increase sales while in the program? You touched on it briefly, but I want you to go into a little bit more. And as well as that's number one. And then number two, your ability to raise capital and how Techstars was able to help you close out your latest rounds.
Anis, you want to go?
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of similar to Joseph, we were running at about 500, 600K in ARR or in annual GMV before we jumped into the Techstars program, and we quadrupled that throughout the program. And I think it was a combination of just getting so much clearer on what it is that we were pushing out to our customers, to our users, and the messaging that we put out there to attract them. It also focused us to speak to them, to go and have conversations with them, obsess about what they were doing and how they were using our product and what they enjoyed, what they didn't enjoy, how we could iterate. And so being able to iterate quicker, again, just within the Techstars ecosystem, and being able to say, hey, leverage the technical resources or the operational resources to say, hey, we're thinking of doing this. Like, what are your thoughts about how we should be thinking about implementing this feature or this product rollout? Was massive. In addition to that, it would be silly to say that there were many doors that were opened to potential customers, just that are quite frankly Techstars alum or Techstars portfolio companies. And because specialized accounting services, it touches every single business pretty much on the planet. It was a very easy in to be able to have those conversations, and it didn't feel like a sell. It felt like a conversation. It felt like we were sharing just what we were doing, and you're part of kind of the Techstars family. And so, again, being able to accelerate sales in that way was phenomenal. And then kind of the second part of your question, Sherman, how did it prepare us to kind of better run our raise? And I touched on this a little bit, is like once we locked in our story for demo day, which Matt and the team are phenomenal at making you do, I think it was probably one of the most frustrating parts of me, because I was like, I think I'm telling what I should be telling. It's like, no, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, what do you mean it doesn't make sense? Like, to the average individual, to the people that are listening, it wasn't as like how I was explaining my story wasn't as compelling as the way that they got me to explain my story. And I think that was massive in helping us understand what we needed to say to investors, what they were listening for, what was going to be important to them, and kind of understanding us for us too, and for our internal team, how we painted the vision. And so when we got out at Techstars, we kind of ended demo day on the 16th, and the program ended on the 17th. But we really looked at kind of this 45 to 60 days after that as a continuation of the program as we were running our raise. And so it was this hard pivot from, okay, program's done now, let's go and run our raise. And we still had access to everybody that we had access to in the program, but we were graduated from the program, and that was huge too. Hey, we're meeting with so and so investor. Sherman, do you have an update? Do you have insights into who the partner is and what they look for, or kind of just some insights into who they are as individuals was super valuable. And so I think, again, being able to tell the story, being able to say that through this program, we've actually accelerated our growth, and we've accelerated kind of where we want to go and why, like how the use of funds are going to help us build the biggest and best and most incredible company that we possibly can, was phenomenal. And so I can undoubtedly say, like unequivocally say, that we would not have been able to raise the money that we did from the people that we did if we hadn't got through the Techstars program.
I share a lot of that as well. Like we saw one of the biggest things in our business is we targeted our primary customer profile is these multinational companies, Fortune 500, Global 2000 companies, and as you can imagine, they're extremely difficult to access. So what our assumption was, if you get in Techstars, because Techstars has most of them as their corporate partners, to be relatively easier to get in front of them and at least get pilots and so forth. And it was true, right? So we got in Techstars, we were like around 600K months, months into the program, slightly later, we had tripled our revenue because of all the introductions, the warm introductions we got from, Sherman and Matt and, our mentors and so forth. And the huge difference is if in a normal setup, you have to do sales and maybe go bottom up and so forth, and have it dragged out like from business like 6 months process to even close the customer. In this case, it shrunk from 6 months to 3 or 2 months. Through the mentors, we learned the new way of pricing our product, and we learned new values, like value to add on top of the normal data that we're providing and so forth, and that drastically increased the value providing to the customers. We got all our existing subscribers to renew their annual subscriptions, and got new customers on top of it, just from that rigorous 3-month training and mentoring and all that. So that's still we still have our mentors even after the program. And what that does, of course, is it puts our company in a great position for fundraising, right? So by the time we went to demo day, of course, as Anis pointed out, we're running a data company. It was fairly clear, at least to us, what we're doing, but had a different interpretation. So they prepped to them. Before this was like, why would I have to practice pitching if you have like one clear sentence of what you're doing that's too obvious? But apparently not everything that seems obvious is obvious. So demo day, the demo day pitch and the demo day video. So we did demo day differently. I don't know if most of you have time to look at the demo day videos of June. I did it differently, where we had very, very elaborative, presentations with the founders presenting, and that entire pitch completely transformed the way people responded to what we were doing. So now we had on demo day itself, we had like millions of dollars in investment offers. We started getting inbound requests from these huge VC firms that we imagine. But our most the most favored VC firm that we had was an introduction from Sherman, which ended up now being our lead investor. And we got, because our idea was, okay, if we raise, we wanted to raise from like the smallest amount of investors with the biggest checks. So like big checks, few investors on the cap table. And we got exactly that from the investors that we wanted to work with. We had a great match, and raised like more than double the amounts that we were looking for at the beginning of the program. And the most important thing now is, after demo day, yes, you get all this investment interest, but it's then easier for it's very easy for a founder to like butcher it and mess it all up. And this is when for us it was super helpful on helping us, like, guys, this is, because we would send him, okay, here's the term sheet we got, what do you think? And he would advise us, because otherwise you'd, as a founder, be like, oh, how about I negotiate here? And you can make mistakes, right? And as a founder, it's like, for us, we're coming from Mauritius, we didn't know most of these investors. So you don't actually know which investors to take and which one not to take. And this is when, in our case, Sherman was super, super useful in advising us on like the most optimal path for growth. And even the amounts to raise, of course, we had a budget. We're from, from Africa, so like we can work on any budget, 500K, a million. So in this case, we relied heavily on Sherman's expertise, on knowing properly based on the macro trends and our actual business, how much we actually needed to get to a stage and optimize the business for that. And that was super, super helpful. Like the advice after demo day, after you get all that attention, that was very, very valuable to us to end up getting to where we are right now. Still valuable.
Awesome. And one thing I want to point out for the people listening is that Techstars is not just a 3-month program. Techstars is a lifetime program once you get in. There's a whole ecosystem post-program, consistently bringing folks together. You're on the minds of your MD. You're on the minds of the VCs and residents who are part of your program, right? To make those customer introductions, make fundraising introductions, because it's not about just raising that one round. Hopefully you only need one round post graduate from Techstars. But for a lot of people, you're going to need 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 rounds. And for some people, are going to go public. Some people are going to sell their company. And you're going to need advice and you're going to need help. And this family, this ecosystem of Techstars is what you can lean on to go get that help. So I just want to point that out. And both of you guys mentioned that.
Yes. 100%.
Now, I want to talk about
100%.
this give first principle that we have at Techstars, which I think is really unique. It's so out there with respect to forthright with respect to Techstars. What does give first mean to you, and how did you experience it within the Techstars program?
I mean, I can jump in there, Sherman. It's just like, in a words, like it's mad, just like how counterintuitive it is, but it's like it's very real. Like when Techstars says give first, they literally will give of their time, their energy, their resources, their connections to help you be as successful as you possibly can. Which for me was like the craziest concept in the world. And I was like, wait a minute, like where are the strings here that are being attached? And I was like, no, no, we want you to be as successful as you possibly can, whether that be speaking to top tier VCs, whether that's be speaking to unicorn founders that have built businesses and similar ecosystems as you are, like unicorn CEOs. Like, it's not, I'm just going to make a call. It's like he runs a $5 billion company. He'll speak to you. I'm like, oh, okay. Cool. Let's do that. And I think the embodiment of the team around that entire process was just like they walked their talk. And I think so much of that was just very much inspirational. And to me, is like when I see founders, like let's have that conversation. If I can help anybody, if I can help the Techstars LA program expand, I was like, yes, of course, because it was so impactful. And so I think it is more than just something that they say. It's something that they live and live in a big way.
Yeah, I can definitely add on that. So like so I understand give first, understood give first, the concept, which is you, rather than you expecting or meeting people and expecting something from people, how about you meet people, interact with people, and offer what you have or what you can, or the skills that you have, or the connections that you have to people, and without really expecting anything in return, right? So that was an excellent mentality that I understood give first from right now. The experience was mind blowing, because what we ended up founding is it's not just the Techstars team, like the MD, program coordinator, and associate, and so it's the mentors, who in this case, mentors are not necessarily like Techstars people. They're just mentors in the community who are interested to give first. And these mentors they're running $500 million companies, $20 million. So I was like, okay, I am running a $600K company. I am busy. I don't have time for anyone.
Yep.
I have people who are running a pre-seed, or they have ideas and they want to talk to me. I'm like, guys, I'm packed. And I have this guy who's running a $500 million company and has time. He's driving from Pasadena to come to talk to me for an hour for, like, I need to actually. So it got me. I was humbled, and I started making time for people, in Africa or in those places. Even during the program, when even right now my schedule is packed, but I still make time if a founder is struggling. Like right now, I get requests from founders wanting to join Techstars and so forth. I make that 30 minutes and even find the links and send them the links and so forth, because I learned that like, if someone with a $500 million company, $1 billion did that for me and is doing that to me, I mean there's time, right? I should
100%.
be able to make
100%.
time first to other people who need my service, or with whom I'm in the position to help, right? And that to me was the biggest impact that I got from the Big Fest experience. And you get this experience, as Ane said, people introduce you to like really, really big people. Like I remember Sherman introduced me to one extremely high VP who I couldn't reach in my wildest dreams. And it's amazing. It's amazing. I think being in a community where that's the way of working, and that's the way of being, is very fulfilling. We talk about business and numbers and all this, but with the Techstars way, you don't end up with the emptiness that you would otherwise end up if you're like too selfish, right? So you're doing good and you're increasing your numbers and performing well. So you're having both.
And I just want to say, as someone who came from investment banking, which is a zero-sum game, and probably the absolute last thing people are going to do is give first in a lot of instances. It takes a healthy dose of faith, believing without seeing. And you may not reap those rewards for years.
Yes.
But I will say that the give first attitude that I've personally experienced within the Techstars ecosystem. I think I'm coming up on my 5th cohort, I think, 5th or 6th cohort. It is absolutely remarkable. And I have gotten I was actually telling someone who just entered into VC and was negotiating their contract, and they were being a bit extractive. They came from a different industry. And look, you got to go ahead and negotiate your salary, go off, get your money, right? But what I will say is that that concept of giving first has been absolutely remarkable. And I think I've gotten more out of that, leading with that. I've gotten more back from that than almost anything I've ever done. And it's absolutely remarkable. It's a beautiful thing. And it just really takes people with faith. Everyone thinks that only people that come from abundance can do that. It's not about that. It's about having an abundance mentality. Mentality, right? And so
100%.
the mindset just sets it first. So, I mean, it's absolutely remarkable. And I think everything you do within the Techstars ecosystem, that is what you're going to get. And if you want to be a part of that kind of community, you can be a part of a lot of the communities. You can make other money doing other things. But if you want to be a part of this community, this is how we operate. And it's truly special. Yeah. Kim, I just want to know, did you have any questions or anything?
Well, I was just going to say I experienced that with Techstars. So I think Matt was kind of testing me when I first connected with him, and he was like, you know what? I have some companies I'd like for you to talk to. And I was like, sure, like it's how I operate. It's how I think I learn more by spending time with you all, because you're the most innovative, you're frontline. You have the majority of customer discovery and understanding of what customer needs are. And so while I'm giving first, I'm absolutely receiving. And I think, that became a big part of the conversation and the way that Matt was kind of assessing, whether I'd be a good fit for Techstars LA. And I'm happy to say I think it worked. And I did want to just ask one question. I know we're going to leave a little time for you to give advice to applicants, but we've all talked about Matt, who isn't on this AMA, but will be on future AMAs. And something I thought was so incredible is that he spends time one-on-one with every founder every week. And I'm like, how are you doing this? So, we've all had incredible experiences with Matt, and I'd love for the two of you to talk about, what working with Matt was like for you.
I think for us, for me and Eric, Matt was working with Matt. Matt is from a certain background, and he works. His brain has a way of cutting extreme corners and getting to the end very, very fast, right? So we may have during the program we had like Friday meetings, 30-minute meetings with 30 minutes to an hour meetings with Matt, and so we'd compile all our problems and challenges for the week, and try to solve them and have like potential solutions and so forth, and test out, and then deliver that to him for now to optimize on our solutions or figure out like the most optimal path. And he would do that in 30 minutes. And he did that consistently every time until we finished. Even through demo day, the people don't understand how communication is extremely difficult. Like knowing exactly what to say to any person from any background to understand what you're doing effectively and get excited about it, it's extremely difficult. But Matt, demo day pitch, Matt had like 20 different variations, and they're all excellent. So working with Matt for us has been that, getting, at least for myself, he had me think, how I could optimize my time and find these thinking shortcuts to get to an answer and do more within 24 hours, more than what I was doing at the time, right? And it's like magic. I mean, I don't think I see it happen, but from people who are outside who are giving me feedback, people in my team and so forth, they're telling me that I'm more operationally super efficient now after interacting with Matt and learning how to form. Because Matt has like 1 million people who depend on him, right? And call him and all this. And he manages to talk to 1 million people. And you can send him a mail right now and he'll respond to an email. Like, how in the world? I have like 100 emails. So like, how to do that? So Matt's very, very operationally efficient in his thinking. And that's the biggest lesson I got from interacting with him. I still learn that up to now.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of just to echo that, Joseph, I think the biggest role that Matt played kind of in my Techstars journey was kind of like founder coach. And I was very forthright and upfront. I was like, I want a coach who is going to push me to be better than I think that I am. And and that was Matt. Like inadvertently, he would push me kind of into certain areas, whether it be speaking better about the business, telling the story better, interacting with clients or users better. He would push me to do and be better and tell the story better, if you will, than most people that I've come across, than anybody, quite frankly, that I've come across throughout my kind of journey. And so I think, again, just like the knowing what a specific founder needs to help them be the best founder that they possibly can be is like a little bit of a superpower. So,
and I want to address something, and then we're going to do a quick rapid fire because we do need to wrap. But I want to address that. Techstars is a program that does take equity, right? And let's just put it out there. It takes 6% common stock, right? Not preferred shares. I have a fund. Kim has a fund. We take preferred shares, just for the record, not common stock, right? And so, I think what you're hearing from everyone between Matt, it starts with Matt. It starts with the Techstars ecosystem first. Then you zone down into Matt. Then you zone down into the people in the program, like Kim and I and Anna and Jenny, et cetera, and Julian. And then you have LA, and you have Culver City, and you have our space. And basically what we're saying is it is worth it, right? It is worth the dilution that you take. That's the crux of the matter. That is the question that people have. It is 100% worth it. I mean, here you have two founders. And I want to point this out. We have one founder that came from Africa, right? Right before the program. We had another founder that came from Africa several years ago. They're both in this program. They both raised seed rounds in this crazy darn market, right? Right. And they're building excellent companies. So I just want to address that. I don't even want to ask you all about that because I just want to put that out there. Yes. That it is 100% worth it. And it's better to own some of something big versus a lot of something that is vaporware or just completely goes away, right? And with the Techstars ecosystem, it guarantees it helps you get on the path to building something big. But rapid fire, really quickly, you two, 3 pieces of advice for people who are thinking about applying to Techstars LA. Anise.
First piece of advice: apply. Don't think about it. Just do it. I think that the second piece of advice is, if you are seriously interested, to maximize your chances of being accepted, don't think that you know everything. Try to be as humble as you possibly can. Try to be as open as you possibly can. Sherman said it, abundance mindset. And that kind of goes to also you understanding what you think you know about your company and how you want to learn and how you want to give and contribute to the program versus just get out of it. And then I think the third piece of advice is, again, I mentioned it, I'll just double down, is don't think about applying. Just like, if you're thinking about it, do it. Just do it. It's so worth it. So worth it.
Yeah, I would say apply to be transparent. So in the interviews that you have, if you get to that stage, be transparent. And like, no one is actually like, they want you to learn, they want to help you, so be transparent about your situation and where you want to get. And 3, when you get to the program, hopefully you do, is apply the learnings, right? So don't be rigid. Let your company morph into what it will become in June, right? So you'd see it and you'll be proud of it.
Awesome. Kim, you want to give us any party?
If you've applied before, apply again. Keep applying.
Apply again.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that the stat is like most of the companies that actually get accepted apply at least 3 times. So yeah, I mean, don't get disheartened if you apply and you don't get in. Go ahead and build the best company that you possibly can while you are in that waiting period, and then apply again.
Awesome. Well, that concludes our time. Again, you should see the links. Alex will be providing them to apply to the program. You can, of course, reach out to us if you have any questions. I think Alex put some contact information in there on the YouTube page. We should have some contact information below. So look, we're looking forward to seeing all your applications, and we'll wrap this up. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Cheers.